This is your
Mark
host,
Anthony Ellis.
Yes, as I continue, she left the bank and then she started to work with the social service. So I had was to take her to work every morning on my way to work. I took her to work, then I drop off my son at daycare. So, as we continue this journey, during this time, I had was to make an application to sponsor my mother to like help out, because the daycare wasn't doing a good job looking after my son. So eventually, the children, of course. So eventually, my mother did come. During this same time, I got a call from work that I must go home immediately. There's an emergency home. And that is after she took my vehicle and said she's going out of town at a conference with social service. So I gave it to her. I trusted her. So I rushed home. When I rushed home, take a taxi, rush home. So it was about 2 o'clock. When I pull up to the house, my van was not there, and I start to think the worst, saying, wonder if she made an accident. Wonder if she made an accident. So I go up to the house with my key in hand, try to open the door. The door wasn't opening, and I thought the lock was frozen because it was so cold. Seconds later, there was a police car pull up at in front of the house. Officer said, "What's going on here? What's going on here?" I said, "Sir, I have no clue. I got a call to come home because there's an emergency here. I don't know." So right away, when the police officer come up to the front door where I was standing, I saw the door prop open. It was my wife there. She said, "Now I have everything, you have nothing, and I don't need you anymore." She took my vehicle from me that she going out for conference, and she took the vehicle and hid the vehicle. So about maybe about 2 minutes later, what do I see? A big long blue car, that's our father's car, pull up behind the police car. Coming out of the car with his, I don't even know what to call it, but his mouth full of venom, telling the officer, "Oh, I beat up our daughter and I do this and I do that." And then she started to play in the hand of the father, pulling off her top, showing her father, showing the police officer, where her bra make a mark on her skin, and say, "I'm the one who beat her on her 2 shoulders." Can you imagine that? So I look at the officer and I say, "Officer, it's best if we go inside and talk." So the officer walk with me and go in the kitchen. We sit around the table. Then I explain to him what's going on. And the officer called for backup. And then he said to the father, "You need to leave this house because you are the problem." Okay? And I also asked the father, I said, "Sir, you promised to repay me $17,000. You know what he said to me? "I must go to Jamaica, dig the grave and take it." Can you imagine this evil person? Yeah. And until today, he didn't pay me my money. So he took his daughter, and she was telling the officer she wanted me out of the house, and the officer said, "If you want to go, you go. This house belongs to him. He has to stay in the house." So the father took her away, and then the following morning, she called me, asked me to bring grocery and clothes, and then she gave me an address in Scarborough, and that's another city. So anyway, I went there probably about 10 o'clock. I reached to the address she gave me. And then when I went there, there was a police officer, a woman police officer stand at the door talking. So I go to her with the box of stuff that I bring, and I greet her, and I asked her, how is the children? She said, oh, they're okay. Just like that. So I said, where do you want me to put the box? She says, put it down in the hallway there. So I put down the box in the hallway. I think I had 2 boxes. So I turned around and started to walk out of the house. When I almost reached to my van, I hear when the officer said, is that him? And then she softly said, yes. Following morning, all this is like hell broke loose, Following morning, I got a call from a police officer, a male police officer this time, saying, Mark, I got a warrant for your arrest. And I said, my arrest? I was like surprised when he said that. And I said, sir, do you sure you have the right mark? And he said, yes. So I said, listen, I live in Toronto, and I gave the officer my address, and I said, check your record, sir. And he said, yes, I have a warrant for your arrest. And I said, for what? For threatening to kill. And I said, kill who? To threaten to kill my wife. Yeah. So, it so happened that I said to the officer, I said, sir, I'm heading out now to do a job interview. What time you finish work? I think he said about 4 o'clock. And I said, okay, I'll be there before 4. So after my interview, I drove to the police station in that city. I already have a job, but I'm trying to get 2 jobs. I got a family to look after, so that's what it was. So when I went there, officer said, I'm sorry I have to do this. And I said, sir, you're not doing anything. All you have to do is just do your job. People accuse me. Just do your job. And then the officer, and I said to him, I didn't even have lunch all day, because I go for this interview and now I'm here. Anyway, they put me in a guard room, and after that, officer go away and come back with a burger and a Coke. Yeah. So it so happened that the same evening they took me downtown Toronto to go before a justice of the peace. So when I went downtown, they forget some document in Scarborough, so I could not see the justice of the peace, and so I end up sleep in the Dunn jail in Toronto. Yes. So I will stop here and I will continue. Thank you.